Here's the story by Jake Wagman in the Post-Dispatch. Many of you saw this over the weekend. Kinder spends time in St. Louis, courtesy of taxpayers, was the headline. Last November, Missouri Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder spent the night at the Chase Park Plaza Hotel after speaking at a charity ball hosted by some of his largest campaign contributors. Featuring entertainment from the Muni, the event was a who's who of St. Louis society held in the Chase's rooftop Starlight Roof. 3 weeks later, Kinder was back at the Chase, this time staying 2 nights for a round of holiday parties in St. Louis, hosted by lawyers and politicos. A week after that, Kinder attended another gala benefiting the favorite charity of another campaign contributor. Once again, Kinder was a guest of the Chase, and then this goes on and talks about how his taxpayer-funded hotel stay dwarfed his predecessors. He billed the state for hotel stays and meals when he came to St. Louis to attend society balls, baseball games, political events. So we have the Lieutenant Governor on here. Lieutenant Governor Kinder, how are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm great, Mark.
Okay, so you would admit that on the surface here, this isn't a very good story that reflects on you, right?
When a guy starts out with a search and destroy mission and spends 2 months on this and does not tell the readers what my office supplied him in a lengthy email, that I've been audited twice, Mark. I've been audited twice by Democrat auditors, both in 2007 and 2010. The auditor who did the auditing left office in January, and you know what she is today, Mark?
That was Susan Monty, and she's running
the state chairwoman of the state Democratic Party.
That's right.
Now, she raised none of these concerns. She parked an auditor in my office for 90 days, going over every invoice that we supplied to Jake Wagman in the Sunshine request, and they flagged none of these concerns because I was staying at the lowest government rate, $105. Is it the name of the hotel that is vital, or is it the rate paid? In every case, I had official business that justified these stays. Now, the difference in my case and other state officials, I'll just take the governor as an example. I've been audited not once but twice by an auditor of the opposing party. The governor has not been audited. And let me tell you, Mark, over 6 years, the figure in Jake Wagman's story yesterday was $35,000 and some change. So it was less than $6,000 a year. I've got some breaking news to share on your air for the first time.
Excellent.
We just got news from a Sunshine request done of the Highway Patrol that in the first 2 months of this year, Governor Nixon travel totaled over $33,000, or almost as much in January and February as my 6-year total of travel. Now, I am not going to apologize, Mark, for my commitment to the St. Louis area and for spending a lot of time there. I spend a lot of time there. I go into the bad neighborhoods in the city, trying to listen to people, to work on housing projects. I've started charter schools to try to give parents more choices in the inner city, and I have a more than decade-long commitment of listening to and working with Democrats, Republicans, and independents in the city and in the St. Louis urban region, which is, after all, the engine of our state. Governor Nixon, there's another difference between his travel and mine. 100% of my travel comes out of my own office budget. He is offloading travel expenses onto the Department of Mental Health, Corrections, Department of Education, Economic Development, and everything else in an effort to fudge it up and make it untransparent. Mine is transparent, accounted for, audited, and his is none of those things, Mark.
The story that Jake did said Kinder often listed no official reason on his expense reports for billing taxpayers for nights at the Chase or the Four Seasons. Now, they mentioned the Chase and the Four Seasons. You're saying that at both of those hotels, you paid a government rate of $105, the same rate you would pay elsewhere?
Yes, and that's what the invoice reflected. By the way, I was in St. Louis last week, and it was not official business, okay? So I stayed in a limited service hotel, and I paid $116, privately paid, not the government. So the effect of this is that I actually paid $11 more not to stay at one of those places that offers the $105 government rate. Now, you know, what is the real point here? This was a search and destroy hit piece that readers of the Post-Dispatch have come to expect over the decades that they have hurt the city of St. Louis and hurt the state of Missouri, driving business out, driving investment out of our state, and endorsing left-wing liberal politicians who are causing the city population to shrink. And some of us are trying to turn those policies around, and of course, they've got to send an investigative reporter spending 2 months to write 2,500 words on my travel invoices that have been audited. Are you kidding me? That article was the length of a New Yorker magazine piece on the Vietnam War.
Well, that's an interesting point. I'm just going through it here. I remember reading it over the weekend, but as I paged through it, it is long. Maybe you would not have to admit, but I guess I was going to say you would have to admit that these types of things, these types of issues are hot considering what's happened with Senator McCaskill and with the governor. What you're saying is that, first of all, if I understand you correctly, you're saying you did not bill the taxpayers inappropriately. True or false? Okay.
Correct.
Now, what about, because the story, this is what's confusing to me. The story starts out talking about this fundraiser at the Chase. Is that official business or not?
It absolutely is. I am, by statute, the official advocate for our state's senior population. The fundraiser was for Lisa Barron's wonderful organization, Memory Care Home Solutions. I was invited in an invitation that came to my official office in the state capitol. It was not like something that came to my home. And I was a speaker at that event, and he wants to cast every possible lousy innuendo he can, but he cannot refute that it was official business and officially reimbursable. And Mark, let me add, I am the only statewide official who voluntarily asked for and received a cut in my budget last year, in my case 5%. I turn back unspent monies to general revenue, to state coffers, every year that I've been lieutenant governor, and I will in this fiscal year. And Jake Wagman knew that and did not put it in. A 2,500-word story could not have included one sentence that said Kinder was audited by Susan Monty. Are you kidding me?
Here's what they, and I think that's a valid point. They say, here's what I have. Now, I'm just going to toss this out because I'm getting bombarded by these groups like the Democratic Governors Association. They're frothing at the mouth right now. They say that a 2007 audit faulted you for driving your assigned state-owned vehicle for official, commuting, and personal use, and later criticized you for numerous mathematical errors and inconsistencies in leave and compensation time, as well as a lack of independent approval when inputting expenses into the accounting system. Is that true or false?
Now we're discussing a whole new set of issues, and maybe you want to have me back to discuss that. That would be the 2007 round of audits that forced Governor Nixon to write a check to the state treasury from his campaign account of, I've forgotten how much, was it $13,000, $16,000, $20,000 or more? But he had to write that check for his misuse of the official state car. I did not. Now, the purpose of an audit, Mark, is to get us all to manage our offices better.
Absolutely.
And since that date, that car has been parked, used on only a tiny handful of occasions. I haven't turned in gas bills as I have been subsidizing the biggest part of 50,000 miles traveled around this state year on official business each year out of private resources. I am not turning in gas receipts. I have not used the state gas credit card that I have and that I'm entitled to use. It partially is a response to audit, okay? What is when are we going to get the difference is I've been audited, the governor has not on this travel since he's been chief executive.
Well, I think Tom Schweik can certainly change that, right?
I would believe.
I would hope so. All right, listen, I'm going to let you go. I understand you're angry about this, and I think to a certain extent justifiably so, and that's why I wanted to have you on today.
Thanks so much, Mark.
Okay, take care. I'm late on a break. Lieutenant Governor Peter Kinder, I'm going to open this up for phone calls here in just a moment. 436-7900, 1-800-925-1120. Traffic and weather together. Scott.